my favorite.
Hello.
No, go with it. Let's go. Hello, everybody. We have a RWBY theory. I was talking to Cal about how Pure is my favorite, and I want to get her to 100.
Anyway, hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, remember to come join our Discord server or become a patron over on Patreon. So today we are going to do a theory on how the Spring Maiden has been inspired by Persephone, the Greek goddess of spring.
The what character?
The Greek goddess of spring.
But the what RWBY character?
The Spring Maiden.
Well, that makes sense.
Okay,
That's
but we
good.
haven't even gotten into why. Do you want to know why, Hunter?
Shh, lay it on me.
Okay. The most well-known version of this myth has Hades kidnapped Persephone, but also in other tellings, she arranged for the kidnapping to escape her overbearing mother. This definitely fits what we know of the backstory of the Spring Maiden. So I just want to embellish on this because this is very short and does not really explain. If you guys remember, she said that her training overwhelmed her, and so then she went missing for 10 years. But it could have been that she didn't really go missing because, or at least, Lionheart pretended that she went. We don't know because Lionheart was obviously being watched by Lost.
I guess it's difficult to know exactly what is.
But let's say that from Lionheart was telling the truth just for the sake of like he doesn't have any reason to lie about that.
I guess about
yeah, he said you know, like she was successful in her training and then she ran away, sort of thing. Like we don't know, but I can assume that's telling the truth because that was a decade ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that was 10 years ago. I don't think
why
Lionheart
lie,
would.
really?
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
lie?
And so it could be possible that, you know, instead of running away, somehow the Spring Maiden decided that she wanted to go with the bandits and then arranged for Raven to come get her to fake a disappearance, quote unquote. And so I think that's pretty interesting. That's a very interesting idea. And I could see I could see Raven doing that.
Salem is a motherfucker, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean Raven, sorry.
Oh, Raven is a motherfucker.
So I could see Raven doing that, especially if the Spring Maiden was like, hey, you get this powerful person on your team as long as you can hide me and leave me alone. You know what I mean? Because she seemed really just irritated with,
people's shit.
Yeah, basically, like, she didn't want to train anymore. It overwhelmed her, and so instead she's like, hey, I'll help out the bandits and live comfortably with the bandits, and maybe you can train me a little bit, but I hate these people at the school, and you hate these people at the school, so like, it's mutually beneficial.
So,
in addition, if the character in the opening is spring very lately, she's definitely a bit goth for her season's motif, especially...
Yeah, I expected that for winter, not spring, you know?
Except for after her abduction, Persephone is portrayed more as grim, melancholy, dressed in black, despite remaining the goddess of spring. So, if you guys watch Overly Sarcastic Productions, she does a lot of cool videos about, like, Greek myths and other myths and stuff.
Don't you ever look at some YouTubers like that and you're like, God damn, I wish I was talented.
Yeah.
She can sing and draw and likes Greek mythology, which really something anyone can do, but whenever I see people who are like, I'm into Greek mythology, I'm like, good job.
Anyways, and so in that respect, those videos kind of explain that Persephone just kind of really just liked the underworld, and Hades didn't really exactly kidnap her. She just kind of wanted to be around there, you know what I mean? And she was just kind of a chill goth girl. So there you go. Finally, before becoming the queen of the underworld, Persephone had a different name, Kor. Guess what Kor means in Greek? Maiden.
Oh, hello.
So I think, the myth, based off the myths, it's Kor and Persephone. Wow, we've got a small glimpse of a tiny character backstory for this character, and you already know her mythological inspiration. Yeah, very good work, yeah.
It's like, sometimes you wonder, like, I mean, it's really cool. I don't know how intentional it was, because that just seems a little too perfect sometimes, you know?
Yeah, like, you really think, like, how much do Monty probably gave a lot of shits, considering, you know, how detailed he was. But sometimes you wonder, do Miles and Carrie give a shit? Like, we were talking about this in relation to Wicked, but I'm like, I don't think Miles and Carrie read the original Wizard of Oz books, but you know what? Miles likes musicals. He's probably watched Wicked.
Or they watched the movie The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, like... which is also not very true to the books either, because we were talking about, like, well, maybe, like, they wouldn't be looking at the Wicked inspiration, they'd be looking at the original, like, okay. When they're looking at Beauty and the Beast, like, the Disney movie instead of the original Brothers Grimm fairy tales, I'm pretty sure they're going off, like, basically recently and well-known adaptations.
Grimm's,
it wasn't Beauty and the Beast, but, like, I'm just saying in general.
Like the original sort of news.
You understand what I'm saying, though, right? Like, I don't think that they... I don't think they're that deep, you guys. You know what I mean?
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but that is really cool.
Yeah,
especially Core and Maiden. Like, fuck. Man.
I mean, I think for this, it's definitely. I don't want to say on the verge of being correct. I don't know how to phrase this properly.
Like, it seems verge of being correct. I mean, it's totally possible.
Yeah, like, I think that this is possible for Miles and Carrie because if I can watch a 3-minute video that's fully animated and find out all about Persephone, like, they would too. I'm just saying, like, The Wizard of Oz is, like, a long book series. It's like a trilogy or something like that. You know, nobody has time for that when they're just looking up inspiration for characters. But anyways... yeah. So, I don't know what else to say about that. That's really all there is right now. As for my own ideas, yes,
it's just too perfect.
It seems very possible.
It's suspiciously perfect. And
like,
this is the type of thing
not
that it doesn't
to say, very quickly, that they haven't put a lot of work into characters before, but I'm saying that there's a difference between the characters we have when Monty was around and characters that you can tell were added. For example, like, does that make sense?
No, I think.
Like, I think there's a little bit of a difference of how much work they put into them.
They're still very creative. I mean, just look
oh no,
at
that's
Sienna
not what I'm
Khan.
saying. I'm
And they're
saying
just
that.
gorgeous looking.
I'm saying that with like, if it was made while Monty was still here, I think that a lot of like detail went into researching some of like the character backstory. You know what I mean? But
literally, one of the characters was just a Neapolitan ice cream.
Yeah.
Like, you went to, you know...
but you understand what I'm trying to say, right? Like, I think that Miles and Carrie have a different research process. If you feel me. Like, I don't think that they're going as deep as maybe Monty did. And I think the Spring Maiden was designed when Monty was around.
Here's the thing, though, right? Like, this is not the type of thing that can really be confirmed.
Yeah.
Unless it's in the show, at least. So, really, this is as good... Unless they come out and say, like, yeah, it was based
Well, they
off
would
of...
say it, because they said that for all of the other characters so far, like, that Ruby is based off of Little Red Riding Hood, etc. So they would do that, eventually. Like, and say what she's based off of.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, until they say that, this is just, you know... You can say that they bear similarities, or they were sort of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, I dislike the idea that every character in RWBY is only based off of 1 or 2 characters. Like, that's not really how things work. You know what I mean? Like, characters, like, even if you say that your character was inspired by something, like, everything that character does is gonna be kind of a combination of what you've seen throughout your life. Like, it's just kind of bound to happen. Like, nothing we write is really entirely original. We've all seen bits and pieces somewhere, if that makes sense. And so, like, Jean isn't entirely Joan of Arc. He's like every, like,
Joan
male...
of Arc wasn't a bitch.
Yeah, like every male anime protagonist. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah.
Nobody is a sum of all of their grim fairy tale parts. You know? Like, that's not really how it's working like that. And so, I just need to take a drink, guys. Sorry if Hunter wants to say something.
Oh, God. I mean, I think it's, unless they really come out like, yes, it was based off of Persephone. This is not the type of thing that can, unless there's something I don't know a lot about Persephone, or a lot about Greek mythology in general. So,
I do, so I'll let you know.
So,
but...
like, if there's any stuff that, like, if there's eventually something that's very important to Persephone that happens later on, that will happen to this mating. Unless that happens, it's just sort of like, oh, this is neat. This is a thing that could be a thing.
Because they do confirm it outside, I guess, the show. Does that make sense?
Because, like, you know, and, like, I don't think, like, because Goldilocks, right? Yang's Goldilocks?
Yeah.
I don't think anything she's done has been reminiscent of how that...
Yeah, and that's
poem
kind of
ends,
what
right?
I'm trying to say, right? Like, they aren't
This is a
making
cool
perfect
idea.
replicas of people.
Yeah, this is a
And
cool
so,
idea, right?
Yeah, like,
But
and so this is, like, the bare bones of a character, you know what I mean? Like, this is...
it might not mean a whole lot.
Like, this is, like, her being based off of Persephone, and, like, maybe Raven did, like, set up a kidnapping or something like that. Like, that is enough to be based off of. You know what I mean? Like, that is enough, relatedness to the source, if that makes sense. Because they do want to make things, like, kind of have relevance, right? Like, how Pyrrha died was based off her source. You know, like, and that was sort of enough of her source included that we need. Like, a lot of problems people have with certain things are that they think that it's way too on the nose and you're copying other characters and then it's not fun anymore, but, like, I feel like you have certain things, like with Once Upon a Time, that's kind of the same idea. Like, you're taking fairy tale characters and you're putting your own spin on them. You know what I mean? And so I feel like it's not that bad, like, as long as they aren't directly copying every little detail, and I don't think that they are. And I feel like that's good, that maybe they don't delve too deep into, like, certain things. Like, say they didn't, like, read the original Wizard of Oz, but they just look some information up on the wiki to kind of help them out with certain characters. Like, I feel like that's better than reading the entire source material, because then you'll want to incorporate all of that into what you're making, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so I don't mean to, like, drag them and be like, well, they probably don't do as much research. Like, no.
As
like,
I do.
Yeah, well, like, it's a good and bad thing. Like, I feel like they're not kind of going that in-depth, but at the same time, you don't need to go that in-depth with, like, things like Wikipedia. You know what I mean? Like, if you just need to, like, remember, like, what the wizard wears in The Wizard of Oz, you don't have to read the book, sort of situation like that. And so, I do appreciate that characters are based off of things like this, and I think that this would be good. But there is a balance between incorporating too much of that character and then, like, I guess, ripping things off. In a sense. I don't even like that because this is public domain, but like,
yeah.
I feel like you have levels, okay? So you have this, which is like loosely based off of. You have Once Upon a Time, which is directly based off of, but we're kind of making them edgy. You have Kingdom Hearts, where it's literally taking Disney characters, putting them into new situations, keeping their personality, but then changing kind of the events in their story. Like, these are all different levels of fan fiction. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that the level that RWBY has going on, I want to see it be a little more like Once Upon a Time, just a smidge bit, but then I think that it's okay in how it's doing right now. So if, like, her being a bit goth in getting kidnapped and then her being the Spring Maiden are the only things that they thought of when relating her to Persephone, that's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's okay for me. I don't know how much better else to explain that. I feel like I over-explain this a little bit, but, like, it's fine. You guys watch these videos still.
For some reason.
And yeah, I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way, like, just because that's been on my mind for a while, just how they incorporate the sources of their characters into the show. And, like, I feel like that they're doing it at a good pace, I guess, right now. Like, they're not overdoing it. Like, they're not, like, taking the entire script of Aladdin and making Emerald say it. You know what I mean? That's not what they're doing. But, oh, I actually have an Aladdin theory about Emerald that's coming out this week. I forgot about that. Good job, Cal. Good job.
I love how you were like, they'll never do this. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing a video about how they're going to do this.
No. It's something different, don't worry. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that. I'm sorry if that's a little off topic, but this was kind of short, so I just wanted to kind of address how they could work it in without, like, stealing too much from the Greek mythology. And so that's basically it, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know. Come join our Discord server. I feel like this wasn't, it wasn't the best explained I could have, but at the same time, if you've been watching my videos long enough and have talked to me in the Discord server long enough, I feel like you guys are kind of used to my way of speaking, or my way of rambling, where most of you now understand what I'm trying to talk about.
It's like learning how to read Shakespeare. Like, now I get it.
Yeah. Like,
this isn't just fucking
when Hunter first met me, I'm sure he had no idea what I was saying half the time, but eventually he understood how I tried to explain
I don't think
things.
that's really how language is supposed to work, but sure.
I don't. I just mean that, like, my ramblings probably did not make any sense to you, and then eventually you were able to decipher them, and that's why I'm glad for a very dedicated fan base that seems to watch a lot of my videos, because even sometimes I see comments and they're a little bit confused, but then nobody else says anything about that, and then I'm like, yeah, like, some of you guys are new, and that's okay, and I love you. You should come join our Discord server so we can talk more, and so you'll understand my, like, ridiculousness. But it always kind of makes me happy when I try to say something in the Discord server, and then somebody's like, okay, Cal, like, I get what you mean. And I'm just like, yes, I'm so glad, because I confuse myself so much. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and remember to become a patron over on Patreon if you did like it, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye!